Welcome back. It is Hot Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info and Heron Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 12 minutes gone past 4 p.m. Conversation continues. Thanks for staying tuned. And the matter we're discussing next. The very much talked about and for several years as well, the PIB is no longer a PIB. It's now been rechristened, if you will, has now become the PIA. What am I referring to? Well, several dailies have different versions of it, but let's go with the one from the Premium Times. Buhari signs PIB, ignores concerns over 3% host communities fund. The President signing means he accepts a 3% allocation that deemed the passage of the bill in July after over a decade. Now, here's a bit of that story. President Buhari has signed the Petroleum Industry Bill 2021 into law, weeks after the National Assembly passed the bill. That means, by the way, it now becomes the Petroleum Industry Act, as the President signing it now makes it an act of Parliament. Now, back to the story. The Petroleum Industry Act provides legal, governance, regulatory and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry, the development of host communities and related matters. President Buhari signed the PIB into law, and by the way, that's a referring to a photo. The bill had remained at the National Assembly for more than a decade, with successive sessions of the Senate and House of Reps failing to approve its provisions of sweeping reforms for the oil and gas sector. The bill's eventual passage on July 15 was deemed by a controversy over the allocation of 3% revenue to host communities in the Niger Delta, while a fund for the exploration of oil in frontier basins, mostly in northern states, received 30%. The quota was rejected by the Southern Governors Forum and leaders of the South-South region, including a former minister, Edwin Clark. Representatives of the area demanded 10% or in the minimum 5% as earlier passed by the House of Reps. The National Assembly leadership under Senate President Ahmed Lawan brushed aside the concerns and harmonized the bill, ready for presidential assent. And Mr. Buhari's approval of the bill Monday means he has agreed with the 3% provision. His spokesperson, Femi Adesina, said in a statement the President signed the bill at his home, where he is observing a 5-day quarantine as required by the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 after returning from London on Friday, August 13. The President assented to the bill Monday, August 16, in his determination to fulfill his constitutional duty. The ceremonial parts of the new legislation will be done on Wednesday, after the days of mandatory isolation would have been fulfilled. Now, once again, the PIB has become the PIA. Now, how far will the PIA help to reform the oil and gas industry in Nigeria? What positives can we take from it? Are there negatives as well? These and other related matters we're discussing at this time. And joining me in the studio for this conversation is Dr. Peter Medee. He's River State Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources. Commissioner, good evening to you. You're welcome to Hard Facts.
Good evening, Dayo. Thanks for having me here.
Always a pleasure. It's been over a decade since we've been on the matter of the PIB, which has become the PIA. Several agitations, several discussions, a lot of clamoring, a lot of deadlines, a lot of incidents have occurred over the years, with the belief that the passage of the PIB would bring about a transformation, if you will, not just as regards the oil and gas industry, but even for specifically and especially host communities as well, as their condition or situation has been a very touchy subject matter for several years in this country as well. Now that the PIB has been passed, now it's been sent into law by Mr. President and has become an act of Parliament, can we now heave a sigh of relief and pat ourselves on the back that we've done a great job and finally the PIB has become law?
Well, in fairness to the system and the sector, we actually would have a sigh of relief, because if you look at the Act, it is expected to provide governance framework for that sector. And you know that a lot of investors have shown concern about legal aspect of the business, so that they can be able to invest and then put their money in the sector. So if you ask me, the act being signed It's a signal to investors to say, look, you can come and do business. We now have a law that guides the way this business will be conducted. So that is good. It's better for the sector. But if you take an analysis of what's before us that is being passed, to what extent is this bill going to be good, not just for the business, but also for the social responsibilities of government or the IOCs or the investors to Nigerians, especially those from whose environment this oil is being extracted. So if you look at that, you will see how challenging and how difficult it is. Because if you take a critical analysis at the objectives that this bill is set to achieve, you will see that there is no clear-cut objective that is set to be achieved for the oil-bearing communities or the area from where the oil is being exploited. For example, if you look at objective number 1, it's set to achieve an open, competitive, and transparent upstream awards. That's the first objective. If you take the second one, strong rules for lifting mainstream and downstream licenses. Objective 3, define processes for selling shares in NNPC and the joint venture operation. Objective 4, increase access to information in the sector. 5, to also achieve clarity on revenue flows, while the 6th and the last objective this bill is set to achieve is better NNPC oversight and corporate governance. Now, if you look at this objective, now where do you find or situate the area or the communities where this product is coming from? So I'm not surprised that all the effort we made to be able to see how we can add value to the output of this bill, which is now an half, for the areas where this product is going from, with the attendance devastation, didn't make any meaning. Well, what has happened now, Dayo, it's like a situation where you have a dying parent. The parent, you can see that the parent is already on life support, and you are doing your very best to say, let's do our very best to see if we can put life back to him. You did your very best from hospital to hospital, from dialysis and all other life support machines to the other. At the end of the day, the parent, that your parent or that your patient has died. So this is where we are. The parent or the patient has died. But what do we do?
Yes.
Do we continue to run around? Do we throw the corpse away? We will console ourselves to see how we can bury the corpse.
Well, talking about objectives, pardon me, we have to stay with this for a while. You read out some objectives just a while ago.
Yes.
I also have some of the document here that also list out the objectives of the PIB, or at least when it was the PIB.
Yes.
There are several chapters to this. Chapter 1, as you identified, I think, a while ago, has to do with governance and institutions.
Yes.
There are objectives, as far as Chapter 1 is concerned. Chapter 2 has to do with administration. It has its objectives also. Chapter 3 has to do with host communities development. And there are objectives spelled out there also. I'll read from Chapter 3. The chapter entrusts the host communities with the burden of developing, managing, and supervising the administration of the resources that will accrue to their various communities. The objectives are A, foster sustainable prosperity within host communities. B, provide direct social and economic benefits from petroleum operations to host communities. C, enhance peaceful and harmonious coexistence between licensees or leases and host communities, and D, create a framework to support the development of host communities. Now, there's a chapter 4 which has to do with petroleum industry fiscal framework. All of these chapters have their various objectives.
Yes, Dayo, what you read through, I did a presentation. It's not new to me, but what you're talking about are the specific objectives. I'm talking of the main objectives of this bill. If you look at the main objective, the target was not really how to achieve a better deal for the host communities. So I'm not surprised with the output, but all the effort we made did not make any difference. We asked for 10%. We were giving 3%. They proposed 2.5. It means what they added is 0.5%. So that's the consideration. So you can see the whole huge outcry didn't make any business. For me, whether you like it or not, it means that the federal government is insensitive to the yearnings, the pains, the sorrows of the oil-producing communities and states. Because if that was the case, the appeal we made, even after the proposal of 3% and 5% was made, it would have been able to make any difference, such that we were hoping that before this law is signed, at least reference will be made to the yearnings from the people who are feeling the brunt. Some of the people in Abuja who are actually doing this, they have not seen an oil well. They have not seen a pipeline. They have not. They read on newspapers. They have not seen the devastation we are facing. And it is terrible. So whatever we said didn't make any difference. So what I'm saying in essence is, you may have those specific objectives, which may seem to achieve each of those chapters.
And they are specific.
I made presentation in each of those chapters.
Yeah.
If you take them even from the first chapter, which has to do with investment, we made presentation where they were even looking at investment in terms of vesting every powers on just the federal government rather than the federation. And we made a presentation that what we are talking about here is not just the federal government, but we're talking about the federation, which has to do with the federal government and other federating units of the country. And that we were expecting a reflection of not just the federal government, but the state government, as well as the local government, as well as the oil-bearing communities. So when you talk about the investment and you invest everything that has to do with this law on only the federal government, then what happened to the states? What happened to the federal, the local, and what happened to the host communities? That's chapter 1. If you look at chapter 2, you also see about the powers of the minister. And we're saying that when you vest so much powers on the minister, it means that the minister can wake up and sign any of these assets of NNPC that belongs to the country, that belongs to the federation, with enormous powers vested in the Minister of Petroleum. Then you can wake up and sign out everything that has to do with this asset.
When you say sign out everything that has to do with it, what do you mean by that, really?
What I mean by that is, if there's a transaction that has to do with any of the oil blocks, any of the assets, then no reference will be made to the states, no reference will be made to the local government, no reference will be made to the host community. So the minister can just wake up and sign any contract, sign any deal, and it is done.
That makes it sound. That makes it sound. What you just described right now makes it sound like the minister can simply wake up one morning, and because he had a nightmare or a nice dream, and a friend calls him and said, "I need this," he just picks up a piece of paper and a biro and then signs something.
And sign it up.
And that's how it sounds. But,
that's what I'm saying.
But I feel certain it cannot be that simplistic.
I'm telling you that was what was proposed. Okay. And we made input in that direction, that the powers of the Minister of Petroleum have been whittled down. As we speak, what is passed now is that he is not just the Minister of Petroleum, but is the Minister of Petroleum Corporation. Look at what is signed. So all this are flaws that has come out of what it was garbage in and garbage out. So the reality is that we have a dying patient in our hands.
If you say what the bill was is not what's been passed now, after presentations like persons like yourself, so why would you say it's garbage in, garbage out?
That's what I'm saying.
And you also identified that based on your presentations and presentations of others, amendments were made to that bill, so why would you say garbage out?
What is the amendment? 0.5% was added to 2.5%?
So is that so? Because host communities are not given 5% as they may have preferred, does that mean that the entire document is garbage out?
It's garbage out because what was sent in is what came out. That's what I'm saying. There was no sensibility.
Just because the host communities.
Sorry, not just because of that.
Okay.
There was no sensibility of the feelings of the people who own this product underground and beneath their houses, because the presentations we made were not taken for granted. Look, let me tell you. Look at the pipeline and the gas for anything, and we said that whatever any company that want to invest in oil and petroleum, they need to accompany their proposal with an extensive gas utilization plan. So if you want to invest here to produce oil, you know that in part of producing oil, you emit gas. What is your gas utilization plan? This bill came out, and that is not reflected. Let me also tell you, when you talk about the enclave, you will also see that we said that particular portion should be expunged. But it came out. It came out. So I don't know. It's unfortunate that what we have in our hand is that the patient has finally died by signing that bill the way we say it shouldn't be signed. All our effort made no meaning. So now we will be able to see what we can do to conduct the funeral. We cannot allow the corpse to decay on the ground. So that's what we can only do now.
Commissioner, are you saying that 3% for host communities development amounts to absolutely nothing, and to borrow your expression, is the corpse completely dead?
I'm not saying that it amounts to nothing.
That's what you're suggesting.
That's what I'm suggesting, that what we have on our hand is that we have a corpse that's already in our hand that we cannot allow to decay. What we can do is to look at the bits and the pieces, put them together, and see how we can benefit anything from it.
How do you benefit from a corpse? If you describe a situation as a corpse is dead. There's nothing to benefit from a corpse. What you do is you bury the corpse.
What you can benefit?
So how do you benefit from a corpse?
What you can benefit is a befitting funeral.
How is that of benefit to anyone?
It's a benefit because that says the name of the family. The family can say, oh, we gave our beloved a befitting funeral. Then the dead person can also say to, oh, I have a family that was responsible to make sure that I didn't decay on the road.
The dead person will say that?
Yes, the dead person can also say so. That's what I'm looking at. What I'm saying in essence, I'm only trying to paint a picture of a very bad situation in our hands. The situation in our hand is very bad. How do you tell me that you produce oil, you keep 30% to go and look for oil somewhere that you may not find, then you give 3% to where you brought the oil from? Why don't you give them 30% and use 3% to go and look for the oil? Now you use 3% to give to where you brought the oil from, with the attendant crisis and devastation. Then you take 30% to go and think and invest somewhere that you are not sure that you may either get the oil or not. That is kalu-kalu. That's a plain kalu-kalu with our collective resources. Because if you is that how all exploration works? Somebody just goes to somewhere and says, okay, there's a vast piece of land here, let's just see if we'll find oil. Yes.
But that sounds like an oversimplification of the all exploration process.
If you go to the complex process, you will be able, this 1 hour 30-minute discussion here will not take it. So the summary is that you take the money, go and source for oil, do the seismic operation and all the operations involved. At the end of the day, if you find oil, you come back to say you find, and then they can now go to exploit it. But if you don't find, you come back, and that money that you put into that venture is gone.
But this attempt at exploration or trying to determine if we still have deposits or deposits in other parts of the country is going to be carried out everywhere in the country, not just in the north.
No, I'm sorry,
as is being widely publicized in certain quarters.
I'm sorry, it's not everywhere. There are places in this country where it is proving clearly that there is oil.
Do we have oil here? This company right now, Nigerian is located in Rumusi. Do we have oil here?
Yes, we have oil. We have this oil in this region.
Right now, this building is located, the end complex is located in Rumusi in Port Harcourt. Do we have oil deposits under this building?
Yes, we have.
You're very sure of that?
We are very sure, because there is oil in Rumusi. It depending, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
It depends on the point from where you are exploiting the oil. You know, there is directional and directional drilling. It depends on where you are drilling from. But this area where we are have oil. They may not put the wellhead in these premises, but there is oil here. So what the point I'm making, and I'm making very clearly, is that the whole of Niger Delta is sitting on oil. So you don't need that 30% in Niger Delta.
So you're saying we have oil deposits everywhere in the Niger Delta?
Yes, there is oil deposit everywhere in Niger Delta. Niger Delta is sitting on oil. It depends on where you want to put the oil well, the head. The wellhead, for economic reasons, you can decide to put it in Choba, you can decide to put it in Bele, you can decide to put it in Ogoni. It depends. And you know that you can put an oil wellhead here, and you can drill oil from Ogoni, right from these premises. So the idea is there is already oil in Niger Delta. Meaning that the 30% is not for us. The 30% is for the places where they are prospecting that there may be oil. And so if you prospect that there may be oil, and you get there and there is no oil, and you have expended the 30%, what happened? And you are taking the 30% from the federation account. Because if you have paid in the 100% into the federation account, it means you have 100% of the resources that you deploy into other resources in the country. Other ventures, infrastructure, and all other provisions, share it to the states. But now, instead of sharing 100%, you are going to share 70%. The other 30% is going to be taken to somewhere to prospect whether there is oil or not. My concern would have been, maybe 30% of those communities.
Is it wrong to prospect for oil in other parts of the country?
It is not wrong, but that's a private business. I would have expected that the company that is interested in prospecting for oil should be able to go to the area where they are suspecting that there could be oil to do that prospective activities, and if they find the oil, government can give them holidays, tax holiday, and all the incentives for them to exploit because they committed their fund to look for it. For example, as we speak today, I am already conducting presentation from companies that want to prospect for other mineral resources in River State outside oil. Now, they are coming from South Africa with their phone to come and partner with the state to see if they will be able to discover some other mineral resources in River State. The idea is that if they find it, River State government can partner with them and federal government to say, since you spend money to look for it, we can give you this the tax holiday, we can give you these incentives, we can give you this, and then you exploit it. But in a situation where River State government will now divert funds that they will use for all other activity to go and sponsor that activities, and at the end of the day, if those mineral resources are not found, what happened? So the point I'm making, Dayo, is that we need to be very, very sensitive in this country and sensible. You cannot use 30% of the profit of exploiting oil from an area. You use that profit to go and put in an area. That is it's the prospect, not to put.
It's a prospect.
Yes. And what if you don't find?
Well, even in the Niger Delta here, I believe there were prospections, and some of those prospections did not yield any.
Done by private companies, not by government.
Some of those prospections.
So
did
when
not,
the prospection was done in Niger Delta,
do you agree
was it done from the Federation account?
Do you agree that some of those prospections did not yield any fruit?
I agree, but it was not appropriated from the Federation account.
Once again, that raises questions to your earlier position that there's oil everywhere. If there is oil everywhere in the Niger Delta region, why would you prospect and not find oil so anywhere?
The possibility or the propensity or the probability that you want to put that money in Niger Delta is very high, that the possibility that there will be oil is more than when you want to put that in Gongola.
That means there are areas in the Niger Delta in the Niger Delta region where you might prospect and you will not find oil.
No, you will prospect. There is oil. It depends on where you want to drill the oil from.
No, what I'm saying is, that means that there are places you might prospect, because you agreed just a while ago that some prospections for oil in the Niger Delta did not yield anything positive. That means that there are areas you might prospect or drill and you will not find oil.
That was when they initially started. Mind you, then technology was not as we have today. There are better technology today that once you deploy, you'll be able to know that everywhere in Niger Delta is sitting on oil. But there are parts that you cannot find. And I will explain that to you.
We have to go for a commercial break now. We'll return in a moment. Afterwards, my guest Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources in Rivers State, Dr. Peter Medee, will still be here. We'll continue the conversation on the prospect of the PIA in reforming the oil and gas industry in the country. Just stay with us.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS. Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001-8162 and let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162. That is 0817-001-8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162. That is 0817-001-8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162.
Two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Welcome back to the Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. We've got 17 to go before 5 p.m. Join the conversation. Our lines are open 0817-93-0002 or 0003 or 0007. We'll have on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. And WhatsApp is on 0809-030-6416. At the moment, we're discussing how far the Petroleum Industry Act, former PIB, signed into law now by Mr. President, how far will they help to reform the oil and gas industry in the sector, in the country, especially as it affects host communities, primarily here in the Niger Delta region. My guest, Dr. Peter Medee, is Rivers State Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources. Before going to the phone lines and catching up with some of the messages that have come in, Commissioner, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Still on the subject matter of what is set aside for exploration and what is termed frontier basins,
yes,
and what should come to host communities. Now, there is a difference,
yes,
in where this funding is coming from. Now, besides the obvious difference in percentages,
yes,
even where the money comes from,
yes,
there's a difference, and I'd like to highlight that right now. Now, for the 30% referenced for exploration and all of that, for frontier exploration, that comes from the sale of the actual operating expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
So they're different. 30% of profits from sale of oil and gas is different from percentage or 3% of the operating expenditure of all the companies licensed to operate here within the region. They're quite different. They're not the same. And I should also add that this is exempt. This in any way, this is simply rather an addition to the existing contribution to NDDC that these companies are already making. So we still have the NDDC, the contributions from the oil majors and miners, as the case may be, to the NDDC. So this 3% of their operating cost is in addition to existing monies that come to the Niger Delta already.
Well,
is that not the case?
Dio, these are two different faces of the same coins. No matter how you paint it, is it not the OPEX? It is the OPEX, either from the OPEX or from the CAPEX. What we are saying is that the other one is profit from sale of oil. Oil from where? The other one is certain percentage of operating costs. Operating costs of who and what they are doing. What are they doing? See, the reality of this is that there is no fair deal to our people. You know the Solid Mineral Act. You see the defects in this one and that one. Is it the same? It's not the same. See, the reality is this, Dio. What is different with giving us 10% of that? Is it too much? Even when the previous PIB proposed 10% for this same one that we are giving 3%. So what happened between when 10% was proposed and now that it is now 3%?
Maybe operating costs have gone up. Maybe operating costs have gone up.
Operating costs have gone up because of inflation differentials. Not so. Who is managing the economy? Who is responsible for our devastating inflation and unemployment? You see, look at this. Whether we like it or not, we did not get a fair deal from this process.
How much?
No, sorry.
What percentage would have been enough?
We did not get a fair deal.
Commissioner,
I will answer you.
Okay.
We did not get a fair deal from this transaction. And my position is that let's find a way round it to better off.
What percentage would have been enough?
I'm coming to answer you. I will answer you.
But go ahead.
Maybe let me answer you before then.
Go ahead, please.
They proposed 10 and we asked for 50. 50-50. We asked for 50-50. They proposed 10. Now, when we saw that 50-50 was not working, they reduced it from 10 to 2.5. And we said, okay, give us the 10 you offered. And they gave us 0.5%. Because whether you like it or not, when you offer 2.5 and people ask for 10 and you gave 3, what you have added is just 0.5. So the reality in this whole thing is that let us find a way around this to better our gains from it before it will be amended.
3%.
Because this act must be amended.
3% of the operation expenses of the oil companies still amounts to a great deal of money.
It amounts to a great deal of money.
Yes.
In terms of what? See, let me tell you, I have refused not to go deep into this because are we talking of equity participation? Or we are talking of if you are going to invest 10%, 100,000, you give me 3% of that. Now, who determines the operation cost that you are going to give 3% from? Who determines it? Is it me? Am I part of it? You sit in your boardroom and determine to say, look, I'm going to spend 100,000 and I'll give you 3% of that. What if you are not spending 100,000 and you are actually spending 300,000? So you see, the reality of this is that we are taking for a fool in these transactions.
With the oil majors especially, they are joint ventures. So, I mean, the federal government is heavily invested in the country is heavily invested in these joint JVs as well. So it's highly unlikely that the country will not know what the operation costs or the operating costs of these companies are.
Who are the oil majors and who are the joint ventures and who are the federal government? They are one and the same people. Recycle run this business. You see, Dayo, the reality in this...
We have Niger Deltans in government as well. We have had Niger Deltans in government. We have had a Niger Deltan be president of this country.
Yes.
And that could also happen tomorrow as well.
Yes,
exactly.
I agree with you. But controlled by who?
Controlled by who?
That's the question.
So the Niger Deltans are controlled by who?
The reality...
When we had the Niger Deltan as president, it was controlled by who?
When we have the Niger Delta as president,
it was controlled by who?
Did you know what happened?
It was controlled by who?
Were we able to get the East-West road?
It was controlled by who?
I want to answer you.
Yes.
Were we able to have the East-West road?
It was controlled by who?
I'm answering you.
No, you're not, sir.
I am.
Okay, it was controlled by who?
Listen to me and I'll answer you.
Go ahead.
When you have the East-West road, and the East-West road was awarded by Mr. President, who are the people in the ministry? Who are the head of these ministries that work to ensure that this job is done?
So,
who supervise them?
So that president
where are they from?
That president was controlled by who?
That's what I've told you.
No, you haven't told me. That president was controlled by who?
Listen. I'm a commissioner today.
Yes.
Do you know that I have 7 departments? Who are the head of departments?
Commissioner, that president was controlled by who?
That president was controlled by the system.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the phone lines right now.
Incapacitated.
I've got a non on the line. He's gone. George from Buhari, hi, go ahead. Go ahead, make it quick, please.
We have 13%. Nothing is happening in this oil producer, like example, Soku. If the River State government taking care of Soku over there, and at the end, the took the benefit of this thing and signed it. People are arguing in every group of every outfit, doing bunkers. destroying the mangrove. They are not talking about what will come, what is the benefit. Why the fisherman, the man who is seeking a the man who is doing crayfish, the man who is doing all those things, they are not thinking about how the money will come to their offer, to their pocket. Let them build mansions in their villages and their cities. Let them talk about those people who are producing the village, the towns. They cannot go to school without putting their life in God's hands. They cannot go to any place without saying, God, help me, let me reach my village. You are talking about the 30% is not enough. How much, if they give us 20%, nothing will come to the oil producing community. In my place here, in Bukuma, we have oil in outside Toro. What is happening?
George, for break, really good to have me, but I must take another call before we wrap up the conversation with the Commissioner. Simon from Buluma, you're welcome. Make it quick.
Good evening, Tayo.
Go ahead, you have a minute.
I'd like to take a cue from the last caller. What difference is of them who are in leadership position in the Niger Delta from the federal government? If you look at development pattern, everything is taken to Katsina because Mr. President is from Katsina, as against the entire country. Now, if you come to Rivers State, everything is taken to 2 local governments, as against people down in the creeks. No roads, no water, and all of that. Every other project is taken to 2 local governments. How different? Ask the Mr. Commissioner that say, how different are they from the federal government? It's not to cry and shout that they should bring more. When they bring, how is it shared?
So you have to Commissioner respond to those concerns as we wrap up the conversation.
Well, it's unfortunate that we're in the situation we find ourselves. You know what they are saying? It's like saying that because my neighbor's children went to school and they didn't have a job, I shouldn't send my own. That's what they are saying. That's what they are saying. Because if you look at the reality of the situation we find ourselves, whatever we can advocate and get today, not minding the circumstances today, there is a tomorrow. And what you lost today, to recover it tomorrow, by the time you get a better deal like you're talking, it will be difficult for you to recover it. Why don't we ask for a better deal today with the hope that tomorrow it will be better for all of us?
How about we work with the deal we have today, we improve ourselves as best as we can, in anticipation that we'll get a better deal tomorrow?
That is the reality of it, because today is better than yesterday. Today is better than yesterday. I can tell you that by the time the governor of Rivers State delivers the infrastructural program he is doing today, it is going to be a better deal for Rivers people. Everybody that is talking, you need to understand the reality of where we're coming from. If those who were in governance 10, 20 years ago had built all the flyovers, have done this other infrastructural development, the governor today would have gone into other areas. So you see, you need to understand that we must start from somewhere, but we are going somewhere. And I can assure you that there's a better deal for Rivers State and Rivers people.
Wrap up the conversation on that note. Thanks for joining, especially my guest, Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources in Rivers State, Dr. Peter Medee. Commissioner, many thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dayo. Thank you, listeners. And I'm hopeful that we'll get a better deal tomorrow.
A commercial break comes up. News updates up on the hour at 5 p.m. Discussions continue afterwards. Do please stay with us.